beautiful out. Nothing like morning in the desert. Should be a beautiful morning to take pictures. Not a cloud in the sky. I'm going to shoot some 6x17 because what can I say? I'm a panoramic fiend. Now, if I was smart, I would have scouted out some compositions yesterday. But I guess I'm not smart because I didn't do that. But I'm really going to have to fight the urge to rush and scramble this morning. Because here's the thing, I've been shooting landscape photography so long, and I've pretty much always kind of done the usual beautiful sunrise light or beautiful sunset light, and that's it. So I still have this thing inside me that screams at me to rush when there's beautiful morning light like this. You know, when I'm back home and I have a clear head, I'm like, yeah, definitely go for the softer stuff, man. That's what I like hanging on the wall, right? But then I get out here and like this beast comes out inside me. It's just like color, light, warmth. Let's do it. So I gotta fight that. But so far I'm doing pretty good. I'm wasting a lot of time just standing here. All right, let's get to it. Found a pretty nice composition here. I'm going to use my Nikkor 300mm f9. It's funny how styles evolve. I used to only ever use wide angle. Now I seem to use my telephoto lenses more often than not. I think I'm actually going to try two variations on this cluster of cactus I'm shooting. One with a lot of negative space and then another one with less. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Loading up Portra 160. No surprise there. Okay. One of the #1 questions I get asked on my videos is what kind of light meter I'm using. I use a Pentax digital spot meter. Now it's a reflected light meter, not an incident light meter. And in my opinion, reflected light meters are far more useful for outdoor photography, especially if you're planning on using any filters. But this particular model of light meter, this Pentax digital spot meter, might be my favorite piece of equipment. I think this is the best light meter that money can buy. It is much simpler to use than any other meter I've tried. Okay. We're going to do f64 at 1/2 of a second. Something about the 6x17 panoramic format just works in the desert. Especially when utilizing a lot of negative space, like on this photo. I think that panoramic view just encapsulates the openness and emptiness you find out in the desert. All right, now I'm going to try a slight variation on this composition. Doing the same exposure settings. Same everything, just a little different composition. Found another composition over here that I think I like. It's going to be much tougher than the last one because one of the cactus is much closer to the camera than the rest of them, so it's going to be a little hard to get the full depth of field that I need. But I think it'll be doable. It's going to be on the 150mm instead of the 300. I'm going to be using lens rise on this. Keep the cactus upright so they don't bend backwards. So lens rise, not just for buildings, eh? Now the focus on this one is going to be real tricky. So I have a cactus much closer to the camera than the rest of them. So if I focus on that one, it's going to be hard to extend the depth of field back. If I focus on the further ones, it's going to be hard to extend the depth of field forward. So I'm going to have to find a happy medium, which the general rule of thumb is you focus about a third of the way in to your desired depth of field. So I'm going to try and focus not on this cactus, not on the furthest cactus, but maybe this one that's kind of a third of the way in. And then I'll have to close my aperture and see if it expands the depth of field to what I need. And unfortunately, I can't really use lens swing or tilt or anything like that to expand the depth of field because everything is on a different plane. So if I swing it, it's just going to throw something else out of focus. So I'm just going to have to stop my aperture way down to expand the depth of field. That's all I can do. Okay, we're going to do f32 at 1/8. All right, let's do this. Really hope my hand isn't in the shot. Alrighty. This ended up being one of my favorite photos from the trip. I mean, look at these handsome gents rising from the desert floor. I feel like this really captured that Sonoran vibe I was after. Looking at it now, I kind of want to go back already. Man, I love me some Arizona. I'm pretty sure I just found the perfect saguaro cactus. I mean, it's so good it looks fake. Look at this thing. It's perfect. Man, I'm going to shoot the hell out of you today. I'm starting with something a little non-traditional, I guess you could say, in terms of composition. But later on today, I'm going to come back and do some kind of more classic compositions on this bad boy. This particular composition was kind of the genesis of this whole trip. I had envisioned this composition months ago, and I just needed to find the perfect cactus. Nice and symmetrical, perfect height with a good background. Luckily, I found it on this trip. Ah! Woo, God! Jeez. All right, that has to cook for about 8 to 10 minutes. Gourmet spicy Southwest breakfast hash. Spicy Southwest, how appropriate. Well, this morning was a good morning. I think I got some decent pictures. It's beautiful. The weather couldn't be better. It's calm, still, no wind. Temperature's pretty nice, and there's not a cloud in the sky, so it's beautiful. I'm worried it's going to be a little warm today, but right now, this morning, beautiful. All right, it's been about 10 minutes, and I know you don't believe me, but this stuff is delicious. I got my friend hooked on this. He didn't think they were going to taste very good, but man, I could eat one of these at home. This one's got corn and chili and beans and shredded beef. So I went to turn off the propane tank behind my tent and found something kind of interesting. This was not here yesterday. And also it's a little hard to see, but here's little footprints of some sort. At least I'm pretty sure that's what they are, because I did not exit out of this tent yesterday. And there's these tiny little divots in the dirt. And there's my tent. I think the coyote from last night was letting me know that he didn't appreciate me shining my flashlight in his eyes. I'm surprised he didn't put it in a paper bag, light it on fire, and ring my doorbell. Switching over to 4x5. Which is kind of nice because it uses all the same equipment as my 6x17. So I literally just pull one camera out, drop one camera in, throw in the right film, and I'm done. I'm going back to shoot that cactus I fell in love with earlier. Because you know, once you find the right cactus, you don't let her go. I thought it was around here. I seriously can't find it. They're all starting to look the same. Look at them. They all look the same. Man, if I ever got lost in the desert, I'd be screwed. Let's try this way. Wait, I think I found her. Is that you? Yeah, that's her. Right. The only question now is, should I shoot black and white or color? This might actually look really cool with a shallow depth of field. Check with the 150 first, see if it's about right or not. This is the most uncomfortable height ever. Check out my 4x5 film. Pretty cool, right? It's got a slot for each film holder. Little labels so you can write the film on it. And you can put this for when the film's used so you don't go back into it. This thing's awesome. It's made by Renaissance Photo Tech, which unfortunately is now out of business. The guy who made these, super nice guy, but he retired. Pretty awesome though. I'm gonna try it without a red filter and with a red filter to add some contrast. Okay, we're gonna start no filter, the shallow depth of field. That's gonna be f8 at 1/125th. From Ilford Delta 100. Pretty sure it's expired, Ilford Delta. Helps to cock the shutter. Little pro tip for you. Okay. Now let's grab the red filter. This is a red 25. Here you're seeing one of the many benefits of a reflected spot meter over an incident light meter. With a reflected meter, you can actually meter directly through the filter and get an accurate reading without having to manually add filter factors afterwards. Now I'm using this filter to add contrast to the scene. And you may be wondering, why don't I just boost contrast in the computer when I scan the negative? Well, adding contrast with this filter creates a very different look than simply boosting contrast in the computer. With a red filter like this, it will specifically darken blues and greens to a darker shade of gray, while lightening reds and oranges to a lighter shade of gray. I'm using it here specifically to darken the shadows and the blue sky behind the cactus, while leaving the other tones alone. That red filter definitely increased the contrast and darkened the blue sky. And the relatively wide aperture I used gave me a nice shallow depth of field and a real subtle vignette on the picture. All those things combined, I think, gave me a really cool vibe in this shot. All right, that's that one. God, I need to get some sunscreen on or something. I'm baking out here. Oh. Ah, it feels good to be in the shade. It's the middle of winter. Even now the sun is it's a bit much. I really gotta drink more water too. I'm gonna break for a bit and then I wanna go out and shoot some Polaroids because you know me. But I'm gonna use a camera I haven't used very much, which is a Mint camera, SLR 670S. So it's like an SX70, except that it's got this cool little thing called Time Machine. This Time Machine makes it so I can manually control the shutter speed, which is kind of cool. But it also makes it so I can switch between 600 film and 100 film. So 600 film and SX70 film. And I'm curious to see if they look any different, SX70 versus 600 film. But first, I gotta cool off. We're gonna start with some black and white. So as I mentioned, this time machine device allows me to put in the shutter speed manually if I want to, but I'm not gonna do that right now because after working with the 4x5 and the 6x17, I feel like letting the camera take care of the work for me. So I'm just gonna put it on auto 100, which is for the 100 film, and then let the camera do the work for me. It's kind of cool. These cactus are set up perfectly. 1, 2, 3, taller, shorter, shorter. Check it out, I found these cactus look like they're high-fiving. Bro, stuff! Bro, you don't even know! Call me crazy, but the natural defects in Polaroid's black and white film kind of makes it look like wet plate photography, which I think is pretty awesome. Let's see how this place looks with a little bit of color. Shooting Polaroid's color film is always a little bit of a surprise for me, because I'm never exactly certain how the colors are going to come out. That unpredictability might drive some photographers nuts, but personally, I kind of dig it. Shadows are getting long, which means nightfalls are coming. And that means I need to start figuring out my composition. Because yesterday I saw that just after sunset, there were a bunch of really cool layers going on off in the distance. And I want to see if I can get a good view of that. I think the best view is actually going to be up on a kind of a hill here. Big pile of rocks, and I got to see if I can even make it up. Maybe I'll make it up and the view won't even be that good. But we will see. Holy shit. Oh, man, views up there are incredible. They're a little reminiscent of the Anza-Borrego piece I did with the desert layers and the mountains. And I think I'm gonna do a few shots up there on 6x17 when the time is right. Yeah, worth the hike. All right. Light's fading fast. I gotta make my way up that hill again, but this time with a bunch of gear and a video camera. So this should be fun. If I fall and break my head, at least it'll be on film. Okay. God. Okay. Oh, shit. Oh, I almost just fell backwards. Oh. I made it. Oh, put the camera down. Oh. God. There's a hell of a view up here. Not bad at all. I'm hoping to make these pictures very similar to the Anza-Borrego piece in terms of color palette and kind of overall vibe. I'd like to make a series of that. So, no time to waste. Gotta get shooting. All right. I think I'm liking that. I'm trying to time it for right when the sun just barely peeks out from that mountain. The reason I want the sun to be partially obscured behind the mountain is because if you shoot into just the open sun and it's not blocked by anything, there's a really good chance you're going to get lens flare. In fact, it's almost guaranteed. But if the sun is partially obscured, the lens flare usually goes away, but the sun will still look nice and bright. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. Oh man, I'll be lucky to get one shot here. I'm gonna go ahead and do one. That will probably have lens flare. I cannot believe there's no lens flare in this shot. The sun is fully exposed. It's not blocked by the mountain at all. And somehow, no lens flare. I don't know how, but I'm grateful because this picture came out pretty cool. Okay, now I'm gonna try and get it when it's just barely peeking out. Gets the starburst, hopefully. Still have some light on the landscape. It's really hard to tell if it's blocked or not. I'm using my phone to see if the sun's partially obscured yet. It's too bright to look into the sun with my eyes. Check my metering. Okay, it's almost there. Almost there. I'm gonna do it. So the starburst effect you're seeing in these pictures is from the narrow aperture I used. If I had used a wide aperture, the sun would just be a blob. It wouldn't have those rays of light coming off. Now compared to the previous picture, you'll see that the starburst effect is more pronounced here, but there's less light down on the landscape, and I can't really decide which one I like more. All right. I think that's a wrap. Well, those layers I was hoping for never really showed up. I think it was hazier yesterday. That's why there were a lot more layers yesterday. But so I'm not feeling too confident about the picture I took up there. So I scrambled down the hill, found this new composition I'm going to do with my 150 millimeter. It is way past prime light. So at least some kind of purpley light from the sunset. Picture's gonna be very blue, I think. Very blue light right now. Okay, 16 at 4 seconds. Let's see if I need any reciprocity of adjustment. Portra, 4 seconds. Okay, gotta do 6 seconds. Okay, here we go. You know, I didn't have real high expectations for this picture because, as I mentioned, the light was long past its peak. But something about these blue tones I think worked out pretty good. It's a nice change of pace from that warm sunset light. I was originally planning on packing it in after sunset because I'm beat, man. I just want to relax. But it's such a beautiful night that I just can't resist the urge to go do some more nighttime photography on my digital camera, pop and flash at some cactus. So I am on my way to find that cactus I fell in love with earlier. You know the one I'm talking about. That perfect specimen of a saguaro. That Arnold Schwarzenegger of saguaros. That Cindy Crawford of saguaros. I'm gonna go find it. I'm gonna do some colorful flash on it, because come on, I got to. But the tricky part's gonna be finding it in the dark here. I'm sure I won't step on a tarantula. I'm sure of it. Oh God, please don't step on a tarantula. I found her. She's as beautiful as ever. Now the real dilemma, what color gel to use? Yeah, what the heck, let's try a few different ones. Okay, here we go. Let's do 6 pops at 1/16 power. It looks so freaking cool. Oh God. I know, I was pretty pleased with myself. What can I say? Now this light painting stuff is so fun. I know I'm a Johnny-come-lately to this, but I had such a good time doing this. In fact, I bought a bunch of new gels just to play with next time I go out. All right, let's try some other colors. Whoa, that is sick. I don't think I even need to do any other colors. This might very well be my favorite picture from the trip. And I know that's heresy to say as a film fanatic, because it is digital after all. But man, look at that teal color. It's so cool. Okay, so I got another composition here. And I'm gonna fire the flash on 2 cactus, but they're very far apart from each other. So I'm basically gonna have to sprint through the moonlit desert, which sounds incredibly safe. All right, here we go. And go. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Yep. I approve. Let's see what else we can get. All right, for this one, I'm gonna do kind of a Christmas color motif. Red and green. Which do I want to be which? Let's do green in the front. Oh, I'm gonna be running. I'm gonna be running real good. Okay, here we go. Yeah, not bad. I think I'm getting this technique down pretty good. Again, I know I'm pretty late jumping on the bandwagon of this whole night photography stuff, but you know, better late than never. I doubt I would ever print these out and hang them on my wall, but these pictures register a solid 9.0 on the fun factor scale. Not a bad way to kill an evening while you're out camping. Oh man, that's good stuff. That's fun. That is just good, clean fun. Yeah, I think that's it. As I said, I'm waking up early tomorrow to depart, so I'm not going to be taking pictures tomorrow, so I guess this is where we part ways. That's sad. Well, as always, thanks for coming along with me on this trip. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.